How about bundling several books together or doing an anthology of short stories? For this demonstration, I have 6 books, each with only 2 chapters made up of a couple of scenes, but the same principle would apply if you had many books and each had many scenes, or if you were compiling many short stories. For the sake of simplicity, I have a folder for each book, with folders for each chapter and files within them for each scene. You have 2 choices for front matter here. If all the books are by one author, set up a title page in the front matter folder and compile it exactly the way you would an ordinary book. But I'm going to show you what to do if there are several authors and you also want each book to have its own title page with a book cover. I have formatted a title page for each book and placed it directly inside the folder for the book's title without creating a new file for it. Note the little loose text icon on top of our folder icon. I have an image of each book's cover in my research folder of 550 pixels by 800 pixels, which I have dragged into the top of their respective front matter documents. I want my book titles to be in uppercase in the table of contents, as well as my thank you for reading page, so I have formatted them in uppercase in the binder. You could also format your chapter headings to be in uppercase because we plan to use them as they are in the compilation, but I want mine in normal text because I want my book titles to look stronger than my chapter headings in my table of contents. We definitely don't want to auto-number the chapters because the last chapter in Book 1 would run on to the first chapter of Book 2, making the first chapter in Book 2 Chapter 3 instead of Chapter 1. Now, open the Compile menu, choose eBook from the Format As menu, and Kindle from the Compile For menu. If you are only having one front matter folder, place a check in the front matter box and choose eBook from the drop-down menu. But if you have several, carefully locate them in the Include column of the Contents tab and place checks in the Page Break Before column, which will make them fall on a new virtual page and also add them to the table of contents. We'll also compile them as is. When you get to the bottom of the list, decide whether you want your Thank You for Reading page to fall on a new page and be included in the table of contents, and whether it needs to be compiled as is. In the Separators tab, choose what kind of scene spacer you want between your scene files. And then, this is where you use this separator between folders. See, we have folders with our book titles, including our front matter, which is loose text, followed immediately by a folder holding our chapter titles with scene files inside. We want the chapter to start on a new page, so choose Section Break from the drop-down menu. That's Page Break if you're using Windows. This next one is between a folder with a chapter heading in it and the first line of text in the first scene, so we want just an empty line. Then, between the last bit of text in the last scene and the next chapter heading folder, we want another section break to put the new chapter on a new page. Open the Cover Preview tab and choose a cover from the drop-down menu. This is the cover that encompasses all the books in the compilation, not just one of the covers for one of the stories. In the Formatting tab, click inside the Level 1 Plus row. Don't be confused with this Chapter 1 heading. It has nothing to do with your chapter headings in the binder. If you open this section Layout menu, the code for this heading wants to assign numbered chapter headings to your top-level folders, which in this case are your book titles. Delete the code and click on OK. That removes them from your compilation. This title is connected with your chapter titles, and it will call them whatever you have called them in the binder. I have called them Chapter 1, Chapter 2 here for easy identification, but you could easily give them descriptive names. On Windows, they will be formatted in the same case that you used in the binder in both the table of contents and on the chapter page. On Mac, they will use the case you used in the binder for the table of contents, but you can change the text case for the titles on the chapter pages here in the section Layout menu in the Title Appearance pane. I'll set mine to uppercase. Just one more thing before we compile. I want to keep the chapter titles centered at the top of the page, but I would like them left aligned on the table of contents page. Windows people, yours is automatically left aligned by default. Mac people, this is done in the Layout tab, where you will see Generate Table of Contents is already checked by default. Uncheck this Center Body Text of Table of Contents. I'll hit compile and see how that looks. Open it in your Kindle previewer and click on your cover to go back to the beginning of the book. Then navigate through it using the green arrows. I like this table of contents. You could have had the chapter headings in uppercase, but I think the book titles won't stand out as much if you do. Don't forget you could change these chapter headings to be descriptive by giving them descriptive headings in the binder. If I skip to any of these book titles, I will be taken directly to the book, with a cover image for each book, followed by the titles, which we formatted in the editor, and the author name for each author, along with the copyright details for that particular book, and then Chapter 1. Check that each book compiled smoothly. And that's how to bundle your books together in one volume or create a collection of short stories in Scrivener. I hope you're going to give it a try. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.